All right, my friends, thank you for joining me once again. In today's video, I want to talk about how bringing your A game every single time is actually somewhat delusional. And before I get any further, just let me say that to those of you who normally watch my videos, if my voice sounds different, if it sounds a little bit higher, I think it might be because of allergies. I worked out this morning. I work out in my garage. And then after that, I went out and did yard work. And it's super hot. My eyes been burning, and my voice has this weird thing going on. So I think it has to do with allergies or something. I'm not really sure. So if you hear something different, that is why. But I do want to touch on this subject because I think it'll be helpful to a lot of people. I think it's what holds people back is this idea that we really have to dial in our best selves every time when we show our work. And it's preached to us, and I think that's part of the reason why we feel this way. You know, as youngsters, I've never used that word before. As young people, when we get into sports, we're told we have to bring our best every single time we get out into the ring or onto the mat or onto the track, whatever it might be. When our parents send us to school, they want us to see us get good grades. We're supposed to do our best all the time. And then I've even told people, you watch inspirational, motivational videos, and people say all the time, like me, just do your best all the time. Just do your best every day. But I've thought a lot about this week, and on somewhat of a level, I've been giving some thought to it for a while. And recently, I reached out to a friend of mine. His name is Santa Tom Smith. He's got a YouTube channel. If you've never seen it, check it out. He's really good. He's not for everybody, and I'm not for everybody. But hopefully, if you like motivational, inspirational content, you'll get a kick out of him. I'll leave a link down below for his YouTube channel and his Instagram. But I was talking to him over a Marco Polo video, and I talked about this very thing. And I told him, I said, I need to make a video about this. I had mentioned about how I just can't dial in the best version of myself every time I bring content. Now I'm talking about YouTube for me, but really this applies to everything. It really does. And I think it's something we need to embrace, that we can't just be the best version of ourselves. Now that's the second time I've used those words, the best version of yourself. I actually don't even like that. I think it's kind of cringy when people talk about it, being the best version of yourself. I just think it's gimmicky or trendy or whatever the case might be. It always feels weird, always feels a little wrong, and I've never been able to figure out why I feel that way, but nevertheless, I'm using it here because it does apply. It does bring some meaning to this video. It's something we all relate to because it's become part of the common vernacular. Okay? So if you're listening to videos or reading books, we're always talking about how you need to rise up. You need to rise to the occasion. You need to stand up and be the best version of yourself. Yes, we should always try to improve upon ourselves. We should always try to grow. We should always try to, outpace ourselves. However, it's unrealistic to think that we could do that every day and all the time. Did you know that over in, I believe it's the Netherlands, or maybe it's Finland, I can't remember which one of those, but I watched a documentary lately on YouTube about them, and they were saying that in the school system over there, they do not urge their kids, they do not try to compel their kids to make straight A's. They're only concerned with students just passing, just doing average. Just doing average. Now you might think, well, that's not good. They really should expect more of them. But they have a lot of logic behind it. There's a lot of wasted effort given to things that don't pan out, that are not fruitful, that are not productive, and yet so much energy is given to them. And you might think to yourselves, well, it does teach people to try really hard to be the best they can. But have you noticed that in cultures where that is driven home, These are the people who experience the greatest amounts of stress and probably depression, disappointment in themselves, because they didn't bring the best of themselves. And this applies to relationships, it applies to the job that you're on, it applies to the hobbies that you're pursuing, it applies to everything that you're chasing, and it could apply to yourself socially, the way you're getting along with other people. Maybe you're trying to date and you're concerned about being the best you that you can be. But if you stop and think about it, it's not actually reasonable to expect yourself to be able to do that all the time. It's good to do it as often as you can, but it's got to be managed. It has to be managed. And I just want to tell you that if you're feeling disappointed in yourself because you can see where you're not really trying that hard, and you're not seeing results because you're not trying real hard, well, I mean, it could be that maybe there are some areas where you need to kind of, bring it together a little bit. But at the same time, understand that if you're conscious of this at all, chances are you are trying your best on many occasions. But it's okay to not be 100% all the time. You just can't. I'll tell you why I'm talking about this. And that's because I had scheduled 2 weeks off for a vacation. Last week was my first week. This is Monday when I'm making this video, and I'm in my second week. Before I took this vacation, I had all these ideas of what I wanted to do. I wanted to go out and make these walk tour videos, which I love making. And I even told my wife, and even told Tom Smith, I said, I'm going to go out, I'm going to go to these different towns, small towns in Florida. I'm going to make a different video every day for like 14 days, and I'll release one once a week. But then when that time comes, I've got things to do. I've got a life to live. I've got things to catch up on. And to be quite honest with you, I get tired. I get tired just like everybody else does. And I had to stop and think to myself, I enjoy making those kinds of videos. I enjoy creating that kind of content, but maybe it's not the best thing for me. At least not all the time. At least not all the time. Maybe I can make one occasionally like I have been. My idea was to just release one once a week, but you know how hard that is? I was telling Tom, I said, I've got to actually go to these places. I've got to do the research. I've got to make sure everything in the camera is right. I've got to map out my walking path. I've got to drive home, because sometimes it might be a long ways away. I've got to do a lot of editing. It takes hours and hours in most cases. And that's all fine and well if you're a single guy and if you don't have any other kind of work that you have to do. And so I started feeling kind of bad about it. And it dawned on me, maybe I'm thinking about this all wrong. Just because I enjoy doing that, just because I've made really good walk tour videos before and I like it, doesn't mean it's for me all the time. And it goes with all the rest of my content creation. I don't have to bring excellent videos every time. Honestly, I don't think I do any of the time, but I enjoy some of my videos more than others. I feel better about some than I do others. But it's okay not to produce videos that I feel great about every time. Sometimes it's good just to show up. Sometimes it's good just to hit record. Sometimes it's good just to be in motion. You don't have to be perfect all the time. And that's where it's coming from, is this idea of some level of perfection, whatever it looks like to you or to me or whoever else. We're all fallible. Fallible simply means that we're capable of mistakes or being wrong. And it's okay. It's okay for other people to see that we're making mistakes, or perhaps that we're wrong sometimes. We live in a very defensive society where people are just looking for you to be wrong about something so they can attack you. But you don't have to respond to those people. You don't have to defend that, and you don't have to second guess what everybody's thinking before you make a move on something. It's okay if you're wrong sometimes. You don't want to be wrong all the time, but you're not perfect. It's okay for other people to know that you're capable of human error. And when we can acknowledge that, we are making room for growth, humility, and grace. And if we can acknowledge that, we can also extend that to other people. We can help other people grow. We can demonstrate humility in a way that's inspiring to other people. We can extend grace that we've given ourselves. We can extend that to other people. There's a quote that's not really attributed to one single person that says, "You don't have to be perfect to be valuable." And I think that this quote drives home the essence of what we're talking about. Oftentimes we'll think that we're less valuable because we didn't bring our very best, and we don't want people to see that. But it's okay that they do. It's okay if you're fallible, because it shows that you're just nothing more than a human being. If you find yourself being self-critical today, pause and say to yourself, it's okay. I'm fallible, and that's part of being human. Think of one mistake that you've made recently, and instead of judging it, ask yourself, what have I learned from this? Guys, I hope that this has helped. I know that this past week has been one of reflection for me. I have learned a lot, even though I haven't been doing all the things I had hoped to do, that I had aspired to do. And I was really starting to feel bad about myself. I even told my wife that. I said, I'm feeling very disappointed in myself. She said, why? I said, it's because I'm not doing all the things that I had planned to do. That I'm not measuring up to my own standard. And she said, you have to stop feeling that way, because you're just going to be disappointed. You're just going to get depressed. And she's right. She's absolutely right. But it's really made me think a lot. It's made me prioritize and think about how I don't have to bring my A game every single time. I don't have to dial in the best version of myself. I just have to show up and enjoy whatever it is I'm doing and be real, be present, be in the moment, and do what I believe is sustainable for me. So I hope that's given you something to think about. I hope it's inspired you and motivated you and made you think. If it has, leave me a comment down below. Give me your thoughts, and I would love to hear from you. But I'm going to go ahead and get going now, guys. Like I said, I'm really tired. I still have things to do, but I do thank you for spending your time with me for just a little bit. I'll catch you on the next one. In the meantime, be wise.